each other's mental space. If you ever need me, just call. I'ma come running, give it my all. Love is love, God wins. Keep your vibrations high and watch how your blessings.
Love is love. Namaste, Ashe, salutations, shalom, peace, peace, peace. We're going to play some music while the room fills up, while people come in, so on and so forth. So we're going to play some music. And of course, this music is brought to you by Atlas Family. This is our music. So, I hope you enjoy it. I hope you enjoy the sounds. You can find it on Spotify. You can find it on iHeartRadio, different platforms like that. This is from our Love is Love album. Before we get into today's lesson, before we start learning today, let's just listen to some music. Hold on. Yeah. Love and light, love and light.
There's so much we need to know. As above and so below.
Grand rising, namaste, I say,
add up 1 + 1 get 3.
Hope everybody out there having a great
inside you a galaxy. Hanging with Mr. Wise. Oh, oh, oh. I'm hanging with Mr. Wise. Oh, oh, oh. Hanging with Mr. Wise. Oh, oh, oh. I'm hanging with Mr. Wise. Now I know the law of one.
We are pushing knowledge out on multiple platforms. So we are on YouTube, we are on TikTok, we are on Twitch. We are trying to push knowledge out. We're jamming to some tunes right now, but we're going to get into a lesson. Just stick around. We're going to talk about DNA today. Chemicals, proteins, RNA, so on and so forth. We're going to break that down. See what we can put together. Remember, knowledge and wisdom rules the air.
I'm hanging with Mr. Wise.
Hope you're gaining knowledge, wisdom, and understanding in this new verse. All right? Let's lock in. Before we turn the cameras on. Snacks, get the coffee, whatever you grab with.
Hanging with Mr. Wise. Oh, oh,
remember, our DNA is changing.
I'm hanging with Mr. Wise. Oh, oh,
hang around
oh. Hanging with
Do you
Mr.
embrace
Wise.
the change?
Oh, oh, oh.
Do you accept the
I'm
challenge?
hanging with Mr. Wise. I'm hanging with Mr. Wise. Ralpdawise. I'm hanging with Mr. Wise. Ralpdawise. I'm hanging with Mr. Wise.
Absolutely, y'all hanging with Ralpdawise. Huh? Lock in with us. Lock in. Who y'all riding with? Huh? Who y'all riding with? 2026? Us. Say that. Put your intentions on that. Let's grow with that.
I ride with my brothers
as we close out this year.
When I win, they win. That's love in the storm. I ride with my brothers.
As we close out this year.
When I win, they win. That's love. When I win, they win. That's love. When I win, they win. That's love. I ain't never tripping on shit. That's us. I ain't never tripping on shit. That's us. We moving together, we moving as one. All of my brothers, we moving together, we moving as one. All of my brothers, we moving together, we moving as one. All of my brothers, we moving together, we moving as one. Gonna ride with my brothers. 'Cause when I win, they win. That's love in the storm. I ride with my brothers. 'Cause when I win, they win. That's love.
Hey, listen, man. We got to talk about this DNA. We got to talk about the 12 strands of DNA. We got to talk about how it's changing. We got to talk about it. I know they blocking me on all types of, doing any type of interference to try to stop knowledge from getting out. Why is certain people allowed to have knowledge and why certain people can't? This is changing for so many people, but they don't want us to have this knowledge. Like this does not make sense. So yes, I'm going to keep pushing out knowledge, despite all of this low vibration, all of this negative, despite our people being in a disarray, thinking that iron sharpens iron by belittling each other and tearing each other down. Right? I want to rise above that. I want knowledge to be out there more than anything. You know, all of our people out there just negative energy, negative this, negative that. Like, nah, I'm good. I think we can, build better if we just learn better. And we're not learning better because the people not focused on learning; they focus on other stuff. You know. So yeah, I strongly believe that we can learn. So let's get into it, right? If you're ready to learn, let me see a one in the chat. If you're ready to learn, let me see a one in the chat. Just go ahead, drop a one in the chat. Learning is fun. Learning is power. So once you realize what it is that you are learning, then from there you grow from there, right? So DNA damage begins 5,500 years ago when Babylon Sumeria invasion, right? Erase DNA race memory that Stonehenge except for chosen ones, reptilians, right? So everybody knows, like, they have this idea of this reptilian race, so on and so forth, and they seem to know more than other people, or know more than other beings, or something like that. What if they found a way to erase or block certain variations of DNA that holds on to these memories, however you look at it? So block life force and kundalini natural flow, glands, pineal, pituitary glands, all of this stuff plays a factor, right? Because it's your hormones, right? Hormonic energy, right? This is what shortens lifespan, damages immunity, sets up for a recycle to Astro 4D, right? So this is telling you that because our strands of DNA is blocked, so on and so forth, we keep reincarnating in this material world, reincarnating through man, so on and so forth. So you got scrambled geometric codes and morphing fields, blocked multidimensional procession, so on and so forth, right? uh Rewrote human history from 550 years at a time of invasion. We all know that certain things in history has been taken out of, text, added some stuff, so on and so forth. We can see that right now with Trump and the administration going and saying that, this museum, it holds too much, makes, white people come out sad or whatever. So you got the Sumerian Egyptian invasion, so on and so forth. Rewrite human history. Prompt Anunnaki's creator, god of humanity, so on and so forth. This is where that Enki and Enlil, planet of Nubaru, Melchizedek, all of these different names that I'm spilling out right now. So these are the things that corrupted. These are the things that change, right? You got more fields, so on and so forth, right? All of these different things is what created the setback. It is what created different variations of things that's happening right now. The energy fields, the changing, Orion belts blast. If you remember Men in Black, you remember that they were fighting over Orion's belt, right? Orion happened to be the cat. They had the little ball on the cat. In that, you can see the universe, so on and so forth. So they put it in everything. They tell us this in everything. They show us this in everything, right? And when you break down the 12 strands of the DNA and the will and how it actually supposed to work, and so on and so forth, you get into some very interesting stuff about the DNA, about the 144 chromosomes that's in the DNA, and so on and so forth. So as we get into this, we are going to open up the door to break that down, give a greater, understanding of that. Mathematics And angel numbers, all of this stuff plays a factor in your conscious, right? uh so a lot of this stuff you might already know, feel, or you just can't articulate it, you can't quite put it together. So that's what we aim to do over here on this page, is help you put it together, help you come into a greater understanding of all that is, was, and will be. Yes, it's an understanding, because you have to understand, you have to feel it, you have to know. So it's discernment, it's spiritual discernment, it's all of these things balled up for a greater expression of a human life. And we have to know that knowledge is something that our brain needs. It's like our body needs food, our brain needs knowledge, our spirit needs righteousness, so on and so forth.
Mathematical expansion for inner sustainability. Mathematical expansion for inner sustainability. Art by Omnilove 3. The crystal architecture is self-perpetuating and inner-sustaining. Its math is represented by including 0 point or 0 in its numerical sequence: 0, 1, 1, 2, 4, 8, 16, 32, 64, etc., through doubling each numerical value. Each of the numerical values is derived though returning to 0 and adding all of the numbers together to get to the next highest value in its sequence. The value of 0 represents the central point of union, or 0 point God source. While increasing the values of the crystal spiral, the consciousness remains connected to the original source field while progressively expanding. 4.
So that's why I say, like, a lot of people are going to try to push this off, but this is your DNA. This is your 12 strands of DNA. This is not something that I'm making up. Like, when you listen to this, it tells you. Now, you can find many different ways to get to this knowledge, right? I'm using this form to better bring it, better articulate it to you guys, but you can use many different forms for biological cycle of spiritual expansion, so on and so forth, to understand how the spirit grows inside the body. How is your spirit growing inside the body based off of your human development is basic. You have 12 years of knowledge, so on and so forth, but your spiritual is based off of 40-year school. Spiritual school and this physical school that they came up with is two different schooling systems. Your spiritual school is a 40-year school, just like Christ went through, right? But your physical school is this 12-year graduation that they tell you that you can go through, right?
The original human DNA pattern is arranged into 12 dimensionalized mathematical programs, each of which set the blueprint for one DNA strand. Each strand is composed of 12 base magnetic female codes, or
12 base
mimes, and
magnetic
12 base
female
electrical
code
male acceleration
and
codes, or
12
DEOMs.
acceleration
The
code.
12 base codes and 12 acceleration codes hold the mathematical
Each
program for
one
each
has
double hidden
12 within
strand,
12.
which combine to form
Just
a
like
set
the
of 12
cosmic
vector
laws have
codes.
12 laws within
One
inside of
base code
12
plus one
laws.
acceleration code is equal
As
to one
above,
vector
so
code.
below.
The 12 vector codes of the human genome manifests as 12 nucleotides that form the nucleotide base pairs, which are the entire DNA strands are composed. Due to the NDC, also called the checkerboard mutation unnatural sonic control program installed in the planetary field, only 4 of the vector codes have been active in biological Earth life since the Luciferian rebellion.
And this is why we only
The
operate on
foundations of human
4
DNA
DNA
is
strands, a
miniaturized
total.
crystallized
But
frequency,
really,
that
within them
is,
4, we only
patterns of
operating on
electromagnetic light that
32
magnetically group
uh,
into crystalline form.
chromosomes within the
These
4.
multidimensional crystalline templates are referred to as DNA seed codes.
We
The
should be
DNA
operating
seed
on
code, the
36 within
template
the
for
4.
one DNA strand, is composed of
36 or
12
32.
magnetic particle units
One
and
of
12
them.
electrical antiparticle units. Each DNA strand is composed of the frequency patterns and light spectrum of one-dimensional band. Each DNA strand represents a fire letters code program sequence corresponding to one-dimensional frequency band of consciousness. 24 seed codes equals one DNA strand. The level of frequencies that are accreted into the personal morphogenetic field will determine the level of DNA strand assembly that you possess. As a person pulls in more frequency bands from the dimensional unified fields, the personal frequency accretion level rises, and thus, more DNA codes can assemble and activate.
See? So this is how you structure to put back your kundalini. You have to start putting these DNA strands back together to activate the next strand. It's almost like the wheel that is activated within the Ezekiel's wheel, right? One wheel gets to turning the next wheel, just like your chakra systems, all of them moving at the same time, right? So this is the same thing, shadow work, different terminologies for this, right? So in order for you to activate these fire letters that's in your DNA, for your personal metamorphic field, so on and so forth, these are the processes that you would have to go through. But we have to break this down to the basics, right? So we have to go into the 12 basic codes and the 12 acceleration codes. These two put together is what makes up a vector code, right? So the 12 feminine energies and the 12 masculine energies each come together to make up a vector code, right? So we have to break these down, like the RNA that's in there, the protein, so on and so forth, right? So when you have your 12 basic codes, right? This is the 12 basic codes of the DNA, so on and so forth, right? The biological system. And that's why I say, like, when you understand this better, then you understand the aging process that comes with this, right? At the age 12, this is where your soul, initially ignites within the body. This is where you connect to your 4, 5, and 6 dimension of self. Usually in the physical world, this will take place with the creation of a seed within inside a man's vessel. I guess this is the same thing that takes place when a period comes at the age of 12 for a woman, I guess, so this is that the biological age 12, this is what takes place, right? And then the biological age 22, this is where you reach your oversoul. But at this age, this is when they incorporate alcohol to infuse you with lower dimensional beings. That's why they allowed the age to be 21, because at the 22 marker, you reach your oversoul level of expansion within inside of your mind and your spirit, right? So at the age 27 is when you reach a Saturn state, right? The Saturn taskmaster. During this cycle, this is when you catch up with, so on and so forth, your soul. So by the age 33, avatar teacher, Christ, ritual master. Get it? The age 33, right? And I'll play this so you can hear what it's saying, but I'm explaining it to you now. But I'll play the audio of it so you can hear what it's saying in a second. I'm just breaking down these ages for you so you can get a better understanding of it, right? Christ died at the age 33, right? So the 33 marker is your avatar teacher stage, so on and so forth, right? And then you got the age 44, hence 44. This is why, people like Jay-Z mock it and come out with the 44 club, so on and so on, right? 40/40 marker is when you change from either your Uranus mind to your Saturn mind, or your Saturn mind to your Uranus mind, however you want to look at it. This is why one must be like a child to enter the kingdom of heaven, so on and so forth. And I'll play a lot of this so you can hear it, because I want to get into the depths of some of this stuff. And if you want to get into the depths of this, let me see a 1 in the chat. I see we losing a lot of people over on the YouTube page, and that's okay. Everything ain't for everybody. Knowledge and wisdom is not for everybody. You guys want to be in the rooms that's more exciting, more appeasing to your feelings and emotions. I get that. That's up to you to decide. But I think knowledge is exciting. I like learning about a multitude of different things, and I think it's other people out there that like learning too. And that's who I aim to reach. That's who I want to get in touch with. That's who I want to grow with. That's who I want to build with. Those who want to grow within knowledge, wisdom, and the grander understanding of things, so we can come out of a time of belief and enter in a time of knowing. And the only way we can do that is to actually change our heaven is inside of us, and we have to see a new heaven before we see a new earth. So let's embark on this journey of fixing the heaven within inside the human vessel and put knowledge back where it needs to be, which is at the crown, right? A lot of things in this world are not about knowledge anymore. It's about money. It's about materialistic things. Knowledge tells you that we're supposed to care for each other. Knowledge tells you that each one teach one. Knowledge tells you that we're all in it together and all greater reflections of one another. So if you're a greater reflection of me and I'm a greater reflection of you, then teaching you to have or hold certain variations of knowledge is bettering myself, right? So when I get on this application and I try to push out knowledge and stuff like that, I'm only trying to better myself by doing so. This has nothing to do with nobody else. This has everything to do with me trying to be a greater reflection of myself. And you're just getting pulled into it because we're all part of one another, right? So I'm trying to be a greater reflection of myself. Thus far, I have to get out here and push out different variations of knowledge and try to figure out how can I articulate this better to try to unify a nation and try to bring people back together with understanding as opposed to war and pestilence and whatever that is that they want to come with, right? There's a better way to unify this world. And I think through knowledge, through wisdom, we can actually reach that level of maturity within inside of ourselves that allows us to enter a stage of peace. The golden age is upon us, but it's not upon us with a war. You know, negative will begot negative as soon as we understand that. If we create one war right now, another war will come out of that. So we have to try to create peace. All right.
So let's briefly review the biological
And
cycles of
YouTube, nobody
spiritual
cares if you push
expansion in the
people out my
original human
room.
DNA.
Once this
Housing
video
the
is made,
structure of the
it's
four
in the
corners,
ether
the four
forever.
faces of man, there are also four main pillars of spiritual foundation for human biological cycles. Biological age 12, soul or initiate, 456. Prior to the year 2000, most all Earthlings
And
were
after
blocked
they
in their
get done, I'll
DNA and
break
unable
down
to access
everything
or
that they
begin
put
full
in your
soul
way
embodiment
to
by
stop
age
this
12.
cycle from taking place,
This
and
is a
you'll
mutation
understand
in
it
the
better.
genetics. In the last 26,000 years and prior to 2000, about 68% of the Earth population met partial soul accretion levels at some point in their lifetime and were reincarnated back into 3D again. A very small percentage were freed of the karmic wheel, while the rest were
Just to
trapped in
show
servitude
YouTube,
in the
I'm a real
underworld.
person. I'm a
After
real person,
2000,
YouTube.
this
Look,
is accretion is possible above 4D at age 12 and happens in
okay?
approximately
I'm real.
20% of the population, all indigos. The rest of us have to catch up in our biology later or have specific contract. Biological age 22, oversoul or adept, 789. Prior to the year 2000, most all Earthlings were blocked in their DNA and unable to access or begin oversoul embodiment by age 22 or in their lifetime. This is a mutation in the genetics. After 2000, this is possible and happens in approximately 20% of the population, all indigos. The rest of us have to catch up in our biology later. Monadic waves for biological embodiment became available in 2009 on planet and are undergoing further ascension development now. Prior monad embodiment is by specific individual agreement. This means for the soul embodied, the oversoul/monad is beginning to possibly inhabit the biology now.
If you don't know what that's explaining, let me break it down to you. So in, the early 90s, 80s, somewhere in the 70s, whatever, late 70s, right? They have determined that indigo children, or what we now consider to be, spectrum based or whatever, they was targeting indigos, right? Because the indigos was having an advanced mental experience. Their minds was moving faster than their physical development, right? Thus far creating different symptoms like ADHD, ADD. Remember, if you look at the timeline, this is the time that all of this came about, right? If you look at the Pope wanting to apologize to a bunch of indigos that was in Canada, so on and so forth. If you look, he wanted to also apologize to Native Americans and Indians also, because the truth was coming out about what was taking place, how they trapped the minds, right? So it says 20% of the population, mostly in indigos, so on and so forth. This advancement is taking place. Everyone else will have to catch up in the physical cycle, right? And these are the blockages that they put in the physical cycle in order to keep you in a mental trap, right? Once you hear this, I want you to put a 1 in the chat if you understand exactly what I just explained, right? Boom. In the spiritual ascension world, everything is based off of some numbers or a analogy of numbers. The 7-year marker marks a great point because in 7 years, or however you looked at it. On the sixth day, he rests. 7, 7, 7, 7 is important, right? So in the physical world, they put 7 as the marker that you enter school. So at the age of 6, becoming 7, what do? You're going into first grade. That's placing fear within you. Your separation from your parent. You're going into the school system, population, people. You got to make friends, so on and so forth. That's at the 7-year marker. At the 14-year marker, they place high school. High school, you're going in 13, going in 14. At going into high school, you see there's a hazing act that takes place at a freshman level of high school, so on and so forth. It's a way to place fear on you, right? So you're going into high school, you're like, oh, the upper classmen are going to do this, they're going to do that, da, 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 da. They do the same thing with college, right? But if you look at that, that's a very pivotal marker within the ascension process within inside one's vessel, right? And then if you look at the 21-year marker, which you just heard, at 22 years old, the soul goes into the next dimension of itself, which is an astral projection of oneself. And a lot of people had this experience when they were a kid. It was astral projecting. If you remember, there was points in your dreams where you were falling. You would wake up before you hit something because you knew that the ground was there. In your mind, you were taught that the ground is there, flying, flight, so on and so forth. People ain't flying, so on and so forth, right? So in your dreams, as you astral project, as you ascended, right, you might have experienced a dream where you were falling, right? And you wake up before you hit the ground, and they tell you stuff in order to keep the fear. When you come to and you ask people, like, what does that dream mean? And they tell you, like, man, if you ever hit the ground, you done. I mean, you die, so on and so forth, right? They lied to you, right? Because they're going to keep placing the fear there, right? 21-year marker, you now can get infused with what? Demons, spirits. 21 years, you're allowed to drink, right? So now you're blocking off your spiritual ascension because you're getting infused with demonic entities, right? If you look at this, they have sped up time to attack the biological and spiritual growth within inside the vessel. One's in the chat if you understand what I'm saying. And I can keep going too. 28 years old, they play something there. Usually you're coming out of college at that point. 35-year marker is usually when you're buying your first house, dealing with your debt from school debt, so on and so forth, right? The 40-something year marker usually going through the midlife crisis or something of that magnitude. Come on. One's in the chat if you understand what I'm saying with all of this. Let's keep on listening.
Now, Saturn Taskmaster, age 27. During this cycle, preparation for catching up on soul lessons that were missed by accelerating painful or unresolved issues in the life stream will begin. How the person chooses to deal with this cycle of time determines the spiritual level that can be accessed. The more resistance to change, the more suffering the person will experience. The goal is to alter the life path of the being to be interested in soul pursuits. This is created as an early exit point, or escape hatch, when the soul is not sure if they want to stay here. If they stay, first level of ancestral miasm is activated to begin clearing.
Now, what that's saying is basically at different points in your life, your soul expression will reveal itself in the physical world. So whatever your soul desire, whatever your soul is expressing, it'll come out through a feelings and emotion, or it'll come out through some sort of trial or tribulation down here in the physical world. It is the duality of things. And how you respond or act during that determines your soul's ascension. A lot of y'all keep repeating the same things down here because your soul is trying to get you to respond different to something. You keep on arguing with your parents, you keep on arguing with your friends, you keep on arguing with your bosses, you keep on going through different shit down here because your soul is trying to get you to respond. And usually it's acts of kindness that your soul wants you to respond to. It's acts of forgiveness that your soul wants you to respond to, right? But you dealing with things with a hard heart. You're dealing with things out of feelings and emotions. So you're usually giving your feelings and emotions to it, but your soul is going to keep putting you through these things until you give that soul response. That's why I say you're supposed to keep turning the cheek. You're supposed to keep turning the cheek. Be of peace. Be of peace. And the world is going to tempt you. It's just like when you find out, when people find out that somebody's a Christian, what do? They try to make them do things that's unchristlike. It's happening all around us. Different variations of things are constantly being manipulated. Open your eyes to it, and let's be at peace, with knowledge and wisdom and understanding.
Biological age 33, Avatar Teacher or Christ Ritual Master October 11th, 12. Prior to the year 2000, most all Earthlings were blocked in their DNA and unable to access Avatar embodiment by age 33 or in their lifetime. This is a mutation in the genetics. After 2000, this is possible and happens in less than 1% of the population in predestined agreement, all indigos. The rest of us have to catch up in our biology later or have specific contract. Avatar waves for biological embodiment become available in 2012 on planet and are undergoing further ascension development now. This means for the few oversoul embodied, the avatar is possible to begin to inhabit the biology. Most all above 12-stranded indigos will have a walk-in, massive kundalini or spiritual event at age 33, especially if they are incarnated for world teacher or world service. Many humans will have spiritual events at age 33 also to reflect this biological pattern in the DNA. When this happens, they have to start at the soul accretion and move up the Jacob's ladder to accrete each level until the avatar levels. Because of the physics of consciousness, there are no shortcuts. Too much frequency exposure can damage the brain and nervous system extensively. Biological age 44, guardian or rishi sun, 0 point.
So, do you see what it's explaining right now? Can you hear what it's explaining right now? It's explaining the ascension process. It's explaining to you how our physical and our biological and our spiritual clock all entwined together to show you the levels of experience that's taking place, right? So each time that we go through this at the age 33, when it's spiritual thing, usually we come to our senses or come to some understanding of a God or power or something like that, and we usually give it to something outside of ourselves, or we usually give the power to something else. But this is explaining to you not only Jacob's ladder, right? Because Jacob's ladder is the same as hill catcher, the same as the 12 zodiac signs, the same as, so on and so forth. It's not like a ladder that you go up and down. That's where they had it wrong at, and the angels are moving up and down these ladders. Your DNA is that of which is Jacob's ladder, right? So they're telling you this without telling you this, and they have the story of this entwined with the story of Christ, with the biblical text, right? So the same thing that I'm explaining to you right now, the Bible is explaining to you in a physical idea of how to put the 12 back together, how that one seed, that one persona puts the 12 strands of the DNA back together within the Bible. The Bible is explaining it to you that way. I'm using it and explaining it to you this way, right? One's in the chat if you understand what I'm saying. The Bible is using one way to explain it to you. I'm explaining it to you this way, right? And then different people throughout history had found different ways to explain this level of consciousness to people. And still, after all these years, we still keep acting like we don't get it. We're not making the connection. We're not seeing these different points.
Point. Most all Earthlings were blocked in their DNA and unable to access Guardian Sun embodiment by age 44 or any age. This is a mutation in the genetics on this planet and currently unavailable in a physical form. New templates of embodiment are being created for Aurora Guardian templating. This is a founder guardian god consciousness in form. The founders are returning to the planet to resurrect the dead and repair the DNA damage. They are completely neutral. Saturn Taskmaster, age 54. During this cycle, preparation for catching up on soul lessons that were missed by accelerating painful or unresolved issues in the life stream will begin. In many cases, if the person did not get the message at age 27, they will manifest disease or sickness as an exit point now. How the person chooses to deal with this cycle of time determines the spiritual level that can be accessed. The more resistance to change, the more suffering the person will experience. The goal is to alter the life path of the being to be interested in soul pursuits. Many times awakening comes in disease and during the process of death transition, and the person receives much evolution by undergoing the learning process this way. So they may manifest a disease path that results in rapid death of the body, or choose to exist in the disease state for many years forward to learn how to love themselves better. This is generally brought on by an ancestral miasm activation. If they did not clear the first level of it at age 27, they have a double level of intensity applied now. The taskmaster has no mercy at this point, in its goal to mold the person to connect with their spirit. As you
Do you hear what that's saying, right? Do you hear what that's saying? That's explaining to you Luciferian energy. That's explaining to you what Saturn truly is. Saturn is the dark night of the soul. Saturn is the taskmaster. So when you reach in certain points, certain age points, right? The intensity level for you to connect with your soul and your soul's journey and the purpose of us being down here, it intensifies to the point where you might put yourself in a state of trying to say that you determine. And a lot of people do this in the physical world. If you look at it, they'll put themselves in the punishing and then tell themselves that they deserve it, so on and so forth. And they trap themselves like this. You see a lot of women trap themselves like this in relationships, abusive relationships, so on and so forth, right? And they say, no, 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 I deserved it. I was doing this or I was doing that. Like, what? Right? So this is how all of this comes about. The levels, the doubts, the putting yourself in these situations, so on and so forth, because this is what's happening. You're creating different scenarios for yourself, and the scenarios are intensifying because the whole purpose is to connect with your spiritual self, to connect with yourself, right? But we don't know that. We thinking all of this stuff is happening and it's messed up, and we trying to blame it on this and blame it on that, all the way to the point where you get to blaming stuff on God. Why is God letting this happen? Why is he letting this happen? The task of the soul. Remember, the devil asked to tempt mankind. The devil asked to tempt us. Saturn is the energy of that. It's the taskmaster. He's going to continue to do what it is that he do, which keeps on putting temptations in front of us. Everybody's selling out for money. Everybody's selling out for greed. Everybody's selling out for gluttony. Everybody's selling out for lust. These are the things that are given to the taskmaster as tools to tempt us. Let's keep listening.
You may note in advanced biological human age, after age 54, these biological cycles can be repeated in order to best serve the evolution of the person. As an example, there are many people biologically older than 54 that are just now beginning to advance into the soul initiation. However, their lifestream will still obey this cycle moving forward as it is in the human DNA record. When we understand that the true DNA of our human race has been mutated, the natural spiritual expansion cycles get distorted, and you will notice the cycles playing out at different age levels of the biology. As example, when a person begins soul accretion, the original template is to begin that process at age 12. A human being not understanding emotional intelligence and emotional maturity or responsibility may revert to emotionally childlike behavior. How many of us have had our biological parent act like a child? When one is undergoing spiritual shifts, the behaviors or imbalances get extremely amplified. So you may see a person acting out their emotional tantrums like a 12-year-old. This gives you a clue why humanity is so childlike. Without soul connection, a human can revert to infantile rooting behavior. Embodiment of spirit also increases emotional intelligence and maturity for these reasons. Humanity has not only been oppressed spiritually, but stunted and damaged emotionally.
Now, and
Fine.
you can see this within humanity because you can see this within people, right? People lashing out. We consider these crash outs. We call them crash outs, like, oh, they on the verge of crashing out. It's because they're not practicing, emotional intelligence, spiritual enlightenment, so on and so forth. So they do everything with anger. It's an aggression. It's a so on and so forth. And these are different ways to show that this person is not mature in their self, with inside their self. And you see this with a lot of adults. You can see Nicki Minaj, you can see Buster Rhymes, you can see all these different idols that are showing that they are not spiritually advanced or developed with inside themselves. Yes, they have grown physically and they have that, but they still are showing childlike, syndromes, if you would say. Even the level of fornication, that they push out, the ideas that they push out. If you look at Ice Spice and how she dressed during the Nickelodeon thing for the releasing of SpongeBob, right? She was damn near naked. She had on see-through everything, right? And think about it, that's a kid's place. Like, that shit don't make sense. That means there's no growth there to know the separation between events. Like, this is what you wear to this event, but this is what you would wear to this. There's no separation there, right? This is why you see people like Finesse 3 times, whatever the fuck his name is. That's why you see him arguing with a little kid, a 12-year-old. You know what I mean? Because there's no separation there. You know what I mean? When you see something like that, you have to realize there's a chemical imbalance that must be off in that person's brain. You sitting there arguing with a 12-year-old, talking about that 12-year-old's private parts, saying that seen his private parts and he got a little thing. Like, what the like, what's going on in this world? Make it make sense. It's telling. Like, everything is telling to me. Like, to me, that is telling, but everybody else is not even paying attention to it. You look at the David situation, he unalived that 14-year-old, put it in all his songs. How is the public more aware of these people actions than the people that are actually, digging into the crimes? Like, it's not, none of this stuff in this world is making sense. And until we take on the embodiment of our own Christ and start, wearing and bearing our own cross, realizing that it's our responsibility because we know better, therefore we should be doing better, right? Until we have that full shadowment of a notion, we're going to keep repeating the same things over and over again. So you're watching in a collective world where people are repeating the same things over and over again, hoping for a different result. But here's the problem. You're not going to get a different result if you're repeating the same thing over and over again, right? You're going to get the same thing. So some people find themselves in the same relationship over and over again, but the embodiment is a different person. So they giving off the same energy as the previous person. They just got a whole new face, fucking up your whole mental. You sitting there like, yo, why you acting like the last person? And the last person, what? You wondering why people run around with all these stories and they like, listen, and my girlfriend was in cahoots with my dad, and they were all working together, and it felt like some CIA. That's because you got to keep on dealing with the same energy until you deal with that shit differently. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? You're going to keep dealing with the same energy until you deal with that shit different. And a lot of people keep on approaching it the same way. See, that's why I want to put together a camera crew and go back and show, like, look, this is a path of righting your wrongs. You know what I mean? Even if I got to take myself and just go back and, take a camera crew and just go back and right all my wrongs and show people how to deal with something differently. You know what I mean? Like, I think that would be a greater learning experience than fucking 16 and Pregnant or whatever you want to call these shows, these half-ass shows. And I said it when 16 and Pregnant came out. I said, now all these young kids is going to want to get pregnant because they think they're going to get a show out of it and so on and so forth. And sure enough, what happened, right? And now we looking up to the Kai Cenats and the Rakais and so on and so forth. And they don't give a fuck about what the older people are saying. The older people don't give a fuck about what the older people are saying. So now we in a world where the youth don't give a fuck about knowledge. Why? Because we don't give a fuck about knowledge. And we running around sitting there trying to gossip with Jaguar about where Jay-Z putting his penis and how many people DJ Khaled had on a boat with the Glock 3000 and all of this. What? Make it make sense. You come from an era of the 69 boys, Luke, and all these freak fests. You come from an era where literally y'all allow R. Kelly to marry Aaliyah at the age of 14. You come from an era where Jay-Z started messing with Beyonce at 16. You come from an era where, we know that Foxy Brown had some funny shit happen to her. You come from an era where 1996, 1995, Little Kim had to go to the hospital because she had to get her stomach pumped because it was so much semen. What is y'all talking about? What are y'all talking about? Huh? You know the songs that move. Let's go have fun, baby. All I need is your body next to me. Like, come on. We procreated through slavery. Like, that's all we knew. Like, whenever shit was going south, whenever shit was going bad, let's just fuck our way through. We gonna get through life just with this right here. The Bible said that your seeds will be many, be able to count the sands on the beach. That's how many you're going to multiply into. And now we see like so many people on the planet, like Bill, there was a time where you never thought you would see this many people on the planet. Why? Because they had a governing system over the birthing, rights and so on and so forth. Not everybody was able to bring in life. That's why they had to start the orphanage service, because there was so many people, so many kids living out on the street, so on and so forth. The Bible tell you about 7 years of good and then 7 years of famine, and how the kings and manipulated because they collected the crops, and then when the time came they gave it out and there was taxes and so on and so forth. And you see that same governing system taking place today within our own, so we're tied to that same system that was biblically created however many eons ago, so that same Bible story is taking place today with your social security number. The same Bible story is taking place today with corporate America and the job that you work. The same Bible story is taking place today with your government systems and so on and so forth. The same Bible story is repeated over and over again. So let me ask you this. How is the same Bible story repeated in the physical over and over again? We still don't know that we got to bear our own cross. We still ain't being an example of Christ. We still not trying to get out of sin. Make it make sense that the same Bible story is being repeated over and over and over again, and we still don't see it because we don't want to see it. We are punishing ourselves. We keep on telling ourselves something different so we won't do better, because we are trapped in a cycle of thinking that this is what we deserve. Think about it. If you feel like you won against God, then you would always feel like you deserve to be punished, because you think that the punishment that he has in store is worse than you punishing yourself. It's like the parent who comes to you and say, all right, you did wrong. Now, what do you want? Do you want a whooping, or do you want to be on punishment for a week? And you like, man, I'm going to just take punishment for a week because I don't want the you get what I'm saying? So it's a taught behavior thing. We are doing this because we think that we deserve this. We deserve war. We deserve that. We've been reincarnated so many times down here that we just like, man, we deserve this shit. We just keep on, you know what? We deserve it. Fuck it. Whoop us. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I know that this is a mindset, because one time my son came to me when he was like 5 years old, maybe 4 or 5 years old, right? And I used to always talk to my kids. Like when they was bad, I sit them down and talk to them all the time. I would talk their head off, right? They did not like it. They like, man, he's just always talking. Like to this day, they don't like it. They like, man, he just talk. And they grown now and they still like, man. But at that time, I was just like, like drilling in them, like trying to install, like, like different, things in them. Because I think when you have a chance to watch or participate in the creation of someone's charisma, someone's, moral compass, I think that's a great thing that we now just take for granted. You see a lot of people shaping our youth in the ideal image of the man that they want in their life. And now you got a lot of gangsters and thugs out on the street because they mama wanted a gangster. Never mind. But neither here nor there. So when my son was 5 years old, right, I was talking to him because he did something, right? And, I always tell my kids to be honest with me, right? So he came to me, he said, Dad, sometimes when I be bad, you just got to whoop me. And it threw me off guard because I'm like, what the hell? Like, what do you know? Like, he's like, sometimes when I be bad, you just gotta whoop me. And I'm like, nah, because my son had a crazy way of like every time he would get in trouble, he would start like smiling. Like I would get so mad because I'll be yelling at him about something that he did, and he'll just start smiling. So one time I'm yelling at him, I'm like, and if you start smiling, right, he gonna like grab his face to try to stop himself from smiling, you know what I mean? And I'm just like, I'm laughing about it, but at the same time, I'm trying to discipline him, you know what I mean? But he was like, sometimes when I be bad, you just gotta whoop me. It just threw me off. I'm like, what? No, no, what? Boy, I'm about to whoop you. I'm about to whoop you for saying that. Nah, I'm joking. But no, I always just try to give my kids, understanding, you know what I mean? Um, However you want to look at it. But in this world, like we try our best to give as much, much as that understanding as possible, so on and so forth, and however you look at it. But when you're looking at like the crystals mathematical properties, and this to get back on subject about the topic, you're looking at how your ascension process work with inside your vessel, how you're supposed to grow with inside your vessel. It's the reason why at the age 33 Christ was considered to be unalived or whatever, because if you actually look up what is Christ or any of that, you will find out that to crucify does not mean to unalive. To crucify actually means to multiply tenfold. Later on, when it was translated differently, they then took that translation and made it of the unaliving process. But at that time, there was no unaliving process. There was to crucify, which means to multiply. And Calvary was actually a place on the brain. So when he crucified on Calvary, he multiplied in that place of the brain. And till this day, your biological or chemical, mathematic clock within inside your body is going to reflect this same Merkaba. That's why you have the, 33 marker of Christ. Within a woman, it is like 11, 2.5 counter difference. But this is like the Polaris of things. A lot of women have a higher level of domain because they rule the seventh dimension, where man was given the 3D realm. So the first three dimensions is considered to be the kingdom of mankind. You get what I'm saying? Whereas though the seventh dimension is more of a essence of an energy, a feminine energy. So the plane was given to them, but they wanted to rule down here because of all the carnal desires. Y'all know the whole Lilith story and so on and so forth. I can't repeat this shit. I'm about tired of constantly repeating it. I'm trying to put together classes for it. I actually want to like make this like a full-time thing, make this a full-time job, like putting together different classes of levels of understanding based off of the group that wants to learn it and what level they're at in it, you know what I mean? But like I said, in this world, you still have to, have, you know, your bills got to be paid, I guess, in a sense, right? And a lot of people want to support like women nowadays. A lot of people want to support like lust nowadays. A lot of people ain't supporting like knowledge. You know what I mean? I don't have a lot of investors coming at me to say, like, you know what, that stuff you're talking about is awesome. And I would like to invest in that and so on and so forth. So it's really a struggle because nobody really wants to hear a black guy, to them, it's more so entertainment. It's more so like, so on and so forth. Hello? Susanna Z. Woodman. Who the fuck is Susanna Z. Woodman? That's what I'm saying, man. Who is Susanna G. Woodman? I don't know who the fuck Susanna Z. Woodman is.
Merkaba spin ratio is CW male 33 and 1/3 clockwise electrical over CCW female 11 and 2/3 counterclockwise magnetic. Polarization, waves, also polarization, is a property of waves that can oscillate with more than one orientation. Electromagnetic waves EMF such as light exhibit polarization, as do some other types of wave, such as gravitational waves. Spinning of rotational axis. These constellation coordinate points are time vectors responsible for electromagnetic energy placement within spin points, counterclockwise, clockwise, and rotational axis. This controls the rate of spin of electrons, protons, neutrons that exist in both matter and antimatter. The rate of spin and axis of rotation at microscopic scales are the quantum mechanics which govern the measurement of time and space in our harmonic.
Now, to most of y'all probably had the Charlie Brown effect when you heard that. You probably heard something that sounded like wah 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 wah. You know what I'm saying? You probably heard something of that magnitude. You know what I mean? You probably, you know what I mean? But what that is explaining is it's different fears within inside the body, within inside the vessel that one must navigate through in order to achieve different levels of spiritual ascension, enlightenment, so on and so forth, you know. And also, we are going to put together an idea, you know, basically a support system that will allow growth within the physical world. We are still trying to move forward with the buying of the land and, you know, trying to find other people that want to grow in that level of community, so on and so forth, and you know, however you want to look at it. So we are moving towards a greater level, and remember, we are moving into a digital currency format. So the faster you build you know, a collective, the faster you build a brand or image around yourself, the more sustainable you might be moving forward in this new time, new era, however you want to look at it. So I would like to do that with a collective. I would like to, you know, use the each one teach one system in order to create greater levels of income for not just myself, but also other people. And that only comes with the community. So, and that comes with community building. So, however you look at this, let's move forward with, you know, love, light. 2026, let it be the time that you invest, you know, not in yourself, but in other people, you know, invest in each other, for only the way that you can show the universe how much you love the universe is by showing each other how much you love each other. So, and I use the universe term to appease all religions out there, because for some reason you guys have a hard time getting over who's a Christian and who's a Muslim and who's a Catholic and who's a this and who's a that. So because you're still, you know, stuck in linear thinking, I try to use terms that are actually more appeasing to everyone, as opposed to terms that's only appeasing to certain groups. And you see this fight going on right now, even with Candace Owens and the Zionists, and how they manipulate different figureheads or different people, such as, you know, that Kirk situation and so on and so forth. So when you're looking at this, and however you move forward in this, whether it be following this page or another page that you more so is suited for your image, you know, move forward with enlightenment and discernment, because there's a spiritual battle going on right now, and a lot of physical people are showing their cards or their hands, you know, in this spiritual battle. And you know, I guess the Muslims are determining that this is going to be their jihad. And however you're looking at this, we have to be in as much peace as possible with one another to show that, you know, there's many different ways of fighting something, and we don't have to fight, you know, with a physical format. You know, we can sit down in peace and knowledge and wisdom, and determine to understand, because truthfully, like, we're all in this together, so why keep fighting, right? You know, we can put our minds to so much more if we just stop fighting. You know what I mean? If I didn't have to worry about somebody coming after me because I was black, or if I didn't have to worry about somebody stopping me because of what I'm speaking about or whatever, then I can actually focus on greater things. You know what I mean? If I didn't think about that, like, if there was no one to be afraid of, no more enemy in this world, the only people that's destroying stuff in this world is mankind. Your greatest fear is not even, you know, there's a 95% chance your fear might not even come true. So it's like a 5% chance that the things that you fear will even come true in this world. You know what I mean? So, well, the monks peace march might be beautiful, but the monks peace walk is actually a prophecy because the monks practice solitude. So if you see them marching down off of any type of place of sanctuary, it's because they have foreseen the direction of this world and they know that catastrophic events usually come out of that. So they're trying to encourage more people to be of peace, not only with inside themselves, but with one another. So that's why you see that, you know what I mean, of that magnitude. It's a reflection of what is, always was, and always will be. The people who have reached higher levels of consciousness, and that's why they're afraid of other people gathering in that magnitude, because you reach a higher level of consciousness based off of the people that you put yourself around. So when you have people that practice different fasting, think about it. Sometimes in that and I did it. I understood like a lot of stuff because I was studying like shaman and stuff like that. But you know, you can fast from different things. You can fast from eating, you can fast from talking, you can plug your ears and just fast from listening. There's many different ways of fasting, right? So like one of those fasts comes with like, not talking. Like, can you imagine like not talking for a whole month? Some people don't have the discipline over their flesh like that. You know what I mean? But this is how you have different variations of control over the flesh. They practice this on a daily basis, the controlling the flesh. You know what I mean? Controlling these demons that come with us being wonderfully and fearfully made. Like that comes with us. It's infused in us, and they practice all levels of achieving higher levels of self. They don't have nothing to do with nobody outside their self. It's just with inside their self, they're becoming greater.
Rate of frequency. Energy is consciousness, and it either contracts or expands to maintain or increase its rate of frequency. The process of how fast or slow energy contracts back towards its center point of source field is the vibration rate. The process of how fast or slow that same energy expands away from the center point of the source field is the oscillation rate. The combination of both the pattern of vibration, contraction, and oscillation, expansion, speed is what determines the frequency rate of all energy and things. As our personal, collective, and planetary consciousness raises frequency, the matter world, including our physical bodies, also becomes less dense as our frequency increases.
So
1.
this is explaining to you how that energy, that consciousness, because it tells you energy is consciousness. When people try to tell you, like, man, what is energy? You know what I mean? Da 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 da. Energy is consciousness. You gotta understand exactly what it is, and because energy is consciousness, consciousness goes under a law of vibration or a frequency, if you would say. So the rate of frequency is determined within the consciousness. So think about it like an inhale and an exhale, like a breathing exercise, right? The more you inhale or exhale, the greater your conscious expands, right? And if you remember the movie, Breaking Dawn, or the book, I read the book, but Bella had the ability to push her mental consciousness out in order to protect people around her from mental attacks, right? She was able to push it out to protect other beings around her from mental attacks. Now, what if there is beings down here that can push their consciousness out to protect other people's mental? A lot of people say when I'm around them, it makes them feel calming, it makes their mind slow down, so on and so forth, right? It's a mental protection, right? It blocks a lot of these different frequencies from penetrating your mind because it's strengthening your mental, right? That's why it's called a firmer ment, right? A firmer mind, right? Christ was teaching people how to have a firmer mind. That's why they wrote about the firmament. Remember, the Bible is 66 books of one man. So when it's broken down of 66 people interpreting one man. and telling you everything that he explained and everything that he was trying to teach, and they just did it in their own way or their own story or their own. But it's 66 books telling you about the life of one person and how he taught people how to achieve a greater essence within inside themselves. And when it came down to it, and people were like, "Why are you teaching people this? You shouldn't be teaching people this." He say, "Why? Is it not written in ye laws that ye are gods?" Because once you reach a certain level of knowing inside of yourself in a collective, you become a god of your vessel. You become a god body, the embodiment of that. So you know that you might not be in control of the unknown verse outside of your body, but you'll be in control of your earth. You'll be in control of your vessel. You'll be in control of your body. And this is what is meant to be God sovereign free. Because I roam the multiple dimensions of my mind, right? I'm not afraid to explore different avenues of thinking inside my own brain. A lot of people are afraid to even think certain things. And you hear them say it out loud sometimes, like, I don't even want to think that. I don't even want to fathom something like that. Oh, God forbid, I wouldn't even think it. I wouldn't even think it. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, what? The only way to achieve a level of understanding is to at least bring forth that of which is a thought, so you can determine whether it is a good thought or a bad thought, whether it's a righteous one or an unrighteous one. If it's an unrighteous one, then you cast it aside and you think nothing of it. You know what I mean? But if it's a righteous thought, then maybe you want to act upon that righteous thought. You know what I mean? However you look at this, if you ain't even trying to, look at the thought, like, I don't even want to look at that thought. Oh, you're so, because nothing is of fear unless you create a fear for it. Fear doesn't exist. So unless you create fear, there's nothing that you should fear, however you look at it. So consciousness, and we'll get into the chakras and the functions of chakras and all of this stuff too. Like, I'm telling you, this is deep stuff you're going to want to know. And I would like to move forward into 2026 with a greater notion of unity, a greater notion of understanding, a higher collective of people that want to learn, so on and so forth. So I'm putting together a table, and if you would like to be a part of that table, then join the Discord. Y'all know the steps we got to go through in order to do this. I want to say a good 12 people should put together an affordable table within a substantial amount of time. We should be able to achieve or reach greater notions of not only the growth of this brand image and whatever, but also it should change a lot within your physical and growing within that, and finances, so on and so forth. So there's a plan that I have put together, and I'm going to have to get the people first, because I don't want to just speak this to anybody, because of the achievements that can come out of it. But there is a plan, and for those who, however you look at it, that are going to make the table or be at the table, I will explain it to those once the table is put together. But like I said, I think that something can come out of this collective, but it has to be a each one teach one. Everyone has to bring to the table what it is that they can bring to the table. The honesty has to be there, the transparency has to be there. If you go back to a level of understanding and you connect our consciousness, then a level of communication would have to be there, because I don't see what's in your mind, so I don't see your intent, I don't see your true intent. And whenever you leave speculation to be played upon, you leave that room for doubt and error, and for someone to take your intentions and take them the wrong way, or however you look at it. So we have to eliminate these different variations of avenues. And anyone that would like to invest in the progress of this, you guys know how to invest. Always posting, the different variations of ways that you can support. I don't know how to put together like a list. I don't know how to do any of that, because I think those who are willing will, and those who won't. For someone to say, like, tell me what you need, like, who knows what one might need. It's because even if I tell you exactly what is needed, you might not be able to provide it. So that's why you're supposed to give what you can, in this whole journey of things. You know what I mean? I could say, look, we need a house. You know what I mean? We need to start off with a house so that way we can put 5 to 6 people in that house, occupying each room, sharing a kitchen. The living rooms will be, stationary places, so on and so forth. But we need a house so that way we can put, other streamers in that house and build a substantial, stream of finances that starts coming through before we actually start traveling in the physical. We need land. So when you say like, tell me what you need, like you're not really asking because you might not be able to provide what it is that is needed in order to embark on this journey. Some people got land and they're just sitting on it, don't know what to do with it. I tried to journey to those people, and I got played upon because they just wanted somebody out there to physically come out and fix up their land. I guess with this whole ISIS thing going on, I guess people don't have that labor that they want now on some farms. And a lot of people that are on social media are getting manipulated by different variations of people in the world that's trying to find a new means to manipulate other people. You know what I mean? But once again, I appreciate that. But these are the ways that you could donate. You could possibly send different variations. So thanks in advance for those who do. Um, and like I said, once again, like this is a, forever journey. Like this is a long type of journey. This is the amount of knowledge that's wrapped around this. We'll be teaching each other, different things for, a while to come. Hold up. Is it going to continue? No, I got to refresh it. But yeah, I'm always willing to bring knowledge, wisdom to the table. I'm waiting for like people to actually be interested in this, like because like right now, like there's a small collective that's interested in this stuff, But as we move forward with this, with Candace Owens speaking about frequencies, and Charlie Clerk coming out saying that they're practicing mind control, and I think that's one of the things that got him unalive with him doing that interview, saying like, yes, he knows that they are practicing different levels of mind control, which goes against the CIA and so on and so forth. So I think like what, you look back at XX Temptation, he said the same thing, like, hey, I sold my soul to the devil because, there's a frequency that is on the mind and they can use it to, do mind manipulation and so on and so forth. And he was trying to find out the secret to that. And, so when you go back and look at these different things that's taking place, you know, these energies that's being, wiped out or transferred back into the ether. It's a reason why. It's like they don't want, it's a secret out there and they don't want us to know the secret. And anybody who scratched the surface of knowing is wrong for speaking out about it. I mean, they come after me for different variations of things that I speak about. A lot of people like to look at that Freeman Farm thing and be like, oh, that's crazy. But it's a reason why they won't dig into that. It's a reason why he had multiple people out there at the farm that he manipulated. It's a reason why he got that dude locked up and they worked with him to get that dude locked up. And it's a reason why all of that stuff is what it is. It's a reason why you see him doing videos on Facebook where he's like, I'm going to get into that school, and he was trying to use the boots on the ground song to get into the school. If y'all go back to that video, he's like, I'm gonna find a way into that school. Like, what the fuck? You gonna find a way to kids? Like, what? But nobody wants to look into it. But that's okay though. They'd rather point out an honest, hardworking man and try to, manipulate my life and make my life seem falsified, as opposed to actually looking into a monster. Why? Because that's monsters protecting monsters. And it's a code of honor amongst monsters. They got to protect each other. They got to look out for each other. So anyone that's a light being and pointing it out, they're definitely, they're scared of me. That's what it is. Let's be honest. They're scared of me. I done fucking, literally like pointed out so many of their, and they get karma from it. Like, let's be honest. Like every time I point them out, they get the karma from it. When you look at the Knot situation, when you look at the Murphy situation, when you look at the the Maggie situation, when you look at the Jaguar situation, when you look, just go back and look at the situations. Everything that I was exposing came to light. Everything that I pointed out. Look at Big Homie Cece. Look at everything. So they are scared of me, and they're scared of you because you're a part of this collective, whether you want to be a part of it or not. Somehow you keep on drawing back to this collective. Why? Yeah, they want to mess with your mind too, because you might be a part of this collective. You know what I mean? That's why they like, oh yeah, let's keep on taking this person from the collective or corrupting this person from the collective or so on and so forth. They know that a magnitude of people is drawn to the sound of whatever it is I'm speaking, whatever it is that I'm saying, whatever it is that is of me. They know that other reflections are like bing, 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 like other lights are popping on in other people's heads. You know what I mean? No, your physical life might be different than what you have created the character of your online to be. You might lose you this might be a job that you're trolling, you're different, whatever it is that you're doing. That might be something that you do, but it might not reflect who you truly are. But I don't know. I don't really get into like why somebody else moved the way they move, or anything of that nature. I don't really try to think about that because it's not up to me to determine how you go about entertaining yourself in life or appeasing whatever it is that it ain't up to me for that. You know what I mean? So I usually stay out of that. I respect everybody, as far as we're all in this together, and your human experience is your human experience, because that's all we're really doing is sharing and human experience. Whatever your trials and tribulations or whatever it is that you challenge yourself to in this human experience is what that's completely up to you. um but however you look at this, to each his own. I tend to try to let bygones be bygones. Every time that you tried to come back, I let you back in. Like, even when you came back to the Discord, what did I do? I'm like, okay, let you back in the Discord. You keep trying the bullshit. You keep doing the bullshit, not us. You know what I mean? We keep on doing the same thing, trying to show unconditional love. That's it. We keep on doing the same thing. Our operation remains the same in all of this. If I'm, I mean, you know, just think about it. Really be honest with
Chakra
yourself.
functions are to transmit and receive spectrum of frequency. It is
Really
important
be
to open
honest
the
with
chakras and
yourself.
increase the circulation of energy flow or life force, because the more energy that is flowing, the healthier we are. Illness in the body is caused by energetic imbalances or blockages of the flow through the body systems. Reduced energy flow not only leads to illness and states of disease, it creates distorted perceptions that
We're
allow
all
us
here
to
to
be
help
out of
each other.
harmony with natural laws that interferes with experiencing life as our true authentic self.
It just comes with
The
acceptance.
chakras' major functions are: 1. Vitalize the auric bodies and thus the physical body, organs, and glands. 2. To bring about the development of different aspects of self-consciousness.
Somebody's
Each
flag.
chakra is related to a specific psychological, higher mental blueprint,
Damn,
form, and
y'all be
function.
trying to get pages taken away.
3. To
God,
transmit energy between the auric layers of the light body.
no,
Each
weird.
auric body has its own set of 7 major
Be the
particle
same
wave
people sitting in
chakras
there
and
too,
8 corresponding antiparticle wave chakras,
faking
also called morphogenetic
it.
chakras, each located in the same place on the physical
Y'all won't
body.
stop y'all operation for
Each
nothing.
progressive
I
layer
promise you.
exists in
Y'all
increasingly
ain't gonna
higher
stop.
frequency, each with a higher frequency band than the lower one. Energy is transmitted from one layer to the next through pathways in the
I need
tips
to
of the
talk to y'all
chakras.
higher ups. You know what I
Most of
mean?
these pathways are sealed in most people.
I need to talk
They
to y'all
open through
higher
the
up. If I
intention to
tell y'all
align with
higher ups to
expanding their
stop, they're gonna
consciousness
tell
or
y'all
through
to stop.
spiritual purification work.
You know what I'm saying? But I don't know
Since
how
the
to
chakras
appease
serve to
them because
vitalize
they
the body,
weird.
they are directly related to the
Yeah,
path.
I don't know how to appease them because they weird. Like, y'all higher ups are weird. So I don't know how to appease them. Like, they won't just like take the whole, like, to me, I take the whole, like, you know what, I respect your mind. I respect, you know what I mean? Like, whatever you're doing with your physical, like, I don't care. So, why is it that the higher ups want to put me in a compromising situation before they try to let me grow? You know what I mean? It's like they want to corrupt me first before they try to let me grow in the like it's I don't get it, you know what I mean? Light bringer. Hey, listen, look, see, listen, you're gonna continue operating like you know what I mean? If you feel like you work for the light, then you work for the light. If the light is telling you to attack me and try to put false narratives on me, then continue doing what the light is telling you to do. You know, um, if the light is, I don't even know where to go with that one because I promise you, some of y'all say anything and y'all think it's connected to something because y'all said it, but really you out here doing dark shit. But to justify it to yourself, you'll tell yourself that it's light work. I get it. Everybody got to justify their actions somehow, you know. I mean, at least honesty should come with that light work, right? Let's be modest about this. Like, at least honesty should come with that. You know what I mean? Like to go around and try to make it seem like I attacked you, to go around and try to make it seem like I did something to you, when really I let you back in the Discord a couple of times. I told you that we don't trauma bond. I explained to you a bunch of stuff, and still you try to make it seem like I was attacking you. I watch you go up on, that one person page that used to put heads in a jar, whatever she used to call herself doing, and you really made it seem like, you was attacked over here, and I, pointed out that you was a like what the like you don't remember, you don't recall, you don't recall that? Like you literally went and tried to paint a false image of me as a person. Like, you jumped in front of just because like I always supported you. You don't remember? I remember you being on that page. You was up there for a good hour and some change. You don't remember that? You was up there having a good old time with them, just you know what I'm saying? So what part of the light was that? What part of the light was that? Just help me understand that part. Like I get it, you working for the light, but what part of the light came with that lack of integrity that day? What part of the light came with you getting back in the Discord and then, trying to attack the Discord again? What part of the light was you trying to say that Sassy Paul was under you and y'all worked together? What part of that? You met you met me from the night, but ain't no spy. No, I'm not saying that you're a spy. I'm just trying to get your level of operation. That's all I'm trying to do. I'm just trying to get your level of operation. I'm not saying you're a spy because how you operate, like I said, you could be just trolling. This could be just your format of like how you operate on the internet because you know that controversy sells, or that this, people buy into chaos more. You know what I mean? Just be honest with yourself. Like Maggie. Maggie know that she's a grifter and she begged for money to take care of her dog. She's honest with herself. She wants, Jack Daniels money and to take care of her dog. You know what I mean? So she don't care. She don't got no ambition in life, so on and so forth, right? But like with you, it's like you actually can build something. You know what I mean? You actually can, grow. Like like people are drawn to you. You know what I mean? So you actually have something that people would want to be drawn to. So why are you using that to try to put a false narrative on other people that showed you nothing but kindness and you know what I mean? Oh, you here for the knowledge. Okay, I get it. I get it. You're here for the knowledge. The rest of the shit was just something that you just wanted to I get it. So when you was on different panels bashing me and us and the Atlas, yeah, I get it. That was not about knowledge. That was just for fun. But yeah, okay. Whatever. Search up internet theory and tell me one good reason to take the internet serious. Okay. I don't know. I don't know. I'm gonna stay away from that because, like I said, like you have to respect other people's operation. If your operation is based off trolling and then you're gonna, as soon as you get bored, you're gonna do that again because it's appeasing to your feelings and emotions. So it's kind of like you're going with that. You know what I mean? Like, you know. But when you reach, different variations of levels of ascension with inside yourself, that you reach these different parts of oneself. If you would, you know, take a gander at this list right here. So the 3D and the lower dimension, which is your root chakra, your sacral chakra, and your solar plex chakra, this makes up the physical plane. It's the 3D plane. But as we start to push towards a greater consciousness, when your consciousness start expanding, your consciousness will go into your soul matrix. Your soul matrix is consisted of your heart chakra, your throat chakra, and your third eye chakra. So your consciousness will keep on, inhaling, exhaling into these uh dimensions, right? So your conscious is expanding with inside yourself, getting big, coming back, getting big, coming back, getting big, coming back, and it's pushing out more and more in your um in your vessel. uh we are cooked. No one has the level of discernment needed to get through what's about to happen. Okay. Oh, okay. That would be great. I mean, love is love. Namaste, Ashe, salutation, shalom. I mean, truthfully, like respect is something that is ultimately given. So, like, your level of respect does not determine like how much I respect people or how I go about respecting people, whatever the case may be. Um, you know, but different variations, like you said, like knowing oneself and coming to that realization with oneself is a great notion within itself. So I don't know, like I look forward to greater things in the future, and like I said, the one thing that we know is inevitable is change. So I look forward to the day that people change. You know what I mean? People change for the better. People change, for the embetterment. You know what I mean? AT2/24, whatever you saying. Let's be honest, like your fight is what your fight is. You can't try to come into somebody else's space and force them to take on your fight. You know what I mean? If you feel like you can't handle technology, then that's your problem. You know what I mean? If you feel like, AI has become too much, that's your problem. You know what I mean? But you can't run around and try to force everybody else to have your problem. That doesn't make sense. But I get it. I get what you're saying. You can't deal with AI. You can't handle it as is. You know what I mean? I get it. You're cooked. I get it. But to project that on other people is crazy. You know, you're cooked. You're scared. You can't, fathom whatever it is. I get that. The mind is a terrible thing to waste. Uh, yeah, deflection is crazy. Um, oh, scary ass. So yeah, so you go into your soul matrix, and then when you get into your, monarch matrix. This is anti-particles to particle merger, right? So this is where like you have different particles of things at. This is where your universal kundalini, your core star, so on. This is where your medulla chakra is, your higher brain functions, so on and so forth. So you'll start operating in a higher realm of yourself. Even if we was to go back and break down like the brain and the functions and the different parts of the brain, you have a reptilian part of the brain, and then you have a higher part of the brain that is of more intellect. So when you get to operating in the higher realms of your brain, then you're operating in a different realm. Hold on, let me put some music on real quick and deal with this. Who is this for? Obviously, it's not for you, so I don't even know why you're here. Like, you know what I mean? Why are you here? Like, that doesn't make sense that you're here, but you don't want the knowledge. You're not. Just peace out.
Cause if I know, then I can show the very best of me.
It's not for you.
Divine lines, dividing time.
Don't want it.
Sometimes not our choosing. If we want more, we should explore.
You're
there
right.
will be no losing. Let love guide you.
Okay, so you said because you're not speaking truth. So do you go around and try to complain on all pages that don't speak truth, or just particular pages that you feel as though is not speaking the truth? Because you can't say what is truth and what is not truth, to be honest. Like what's true to you might not be true to somebody else. So unless you're going around to all pages and doing that, it doesn't make any sense to be over here talking about what's true and what's not true, because you don't know what is true. And if you feel like you know it all, then go create your own page where you speak the truth. Because to sit over here and say, you're not speaking the truth. What? You don't know what truth is. Because we live in an unknown world. Even the smartest person will tell you that the smartest person will admit that they know nothing. Yeah. Oh, yeah. How about that, motherfucker? How about that, motherfucker? Everybody go ahead and wave by the AT12, whatever the.
When you don't know what you're gonna do.
Wave by.
And you're down and out, they're there for you.
Wave by.
They be at the spot, they care for you.
Go ahead, out of here.
Yeah, they there for you. When you got good news, they win with you. Got your different views, still in with you. They stay with you, every day for you. Through the highs and lows, they stay for you. It's so nice to feel appreciated, and to know that it's real. We're gonna fight every fight as a collective. We're gonna do just what's right as a collective. We're gonna move as one, never quit till it's done. Stay focused and selective, Atlas Collective. Through the stormy skies, they fight for you. When the world denies, they lie for you. They rock with you, on the block with you. Yes, they tick-tock and lock with you. When things go wrong, they there for you. You haven't known them long, and they're there for you. Always standing strong, they stand with you. So grand with you, yeah, they band with you. Oh, it's so nice to feel.
I kept on trying to figure out, like, why are they putting, like, certain imageries and certain collectives, you know what I mean? Like, if you ever look at it, like, they only idolize certain imageries of certain people. You know what I mean? Like they idolize like the negative. Like think about it. Like Blueface, he strung out according to what Krishan said allegedly. You know, and then you got like Finesse. He's sitting there telling you that he just drinking and popping like listen, man, this is they are literally creating a world. Why don't we have a hell of a lot of intellectual people being idolized? All these smart people in the world, why ain't their pages, doing numbers? Why ain't their page? Where are they at? Where they at? Why are they not getting pushed into the algorithm? Why knowledge don't get pushed into the algorithm? I'm gonna need some stuff to make sense. We stop doing the stuff that makes sense. Nothing's making sense in this world anymore. We are really in the upside down world. People are more concerned with Kai Cenat's breakup than they are with the fact that Iran declared war on us. They're like, yo, we about to go to war. Did you hear? Did you hear what? We going to war? No. Kai Cenat and Gigi broke up. What? Broke up? What the what? These are stranger things if you ask for me. Yeah, that's strange. That's a stranger thing right there. You know? Y'all know I'm telling the truth. You know I'm telling the truth. And like you could look at it right now. They more worried about what's going on with their favorite streamer than they is what's going on in the world. Nicki Minaj popped up at Turning Point. Turning Point. You know what I'm saying? Remember, Charlie Clerk said that he don't think Nicki Minaj was a great example for women, for young black women. So how you pop up at something that is like none of this stuff makes sense? This is dark shit going on. They want our women out there, shaking, rump shaking, and tearing down them. Like, look at what's going on right now. Black women are tearing down black men left and right. Scary as hell. Scary as hell. Their idea of a black man is bi. That's the only black man that they accepting right now. And this shit is dark as hell. They not accepting like a real black. They accepting, you know what I mean? The bisexual black man. Not a heterosexual black man. Look at it. Look at what's going on right now. There's an attack on heterosexuality. And the women are getting it too. And y'all make it seem like this fight ain't happening. But what do you think Nicki Minaj was talking about? What do you think these other people keep talking about? What do you think they bringing up? What do you think they talking about? I'm just saying, it's happening and not happening, or is it happening? It's happening. It's happening. Huh? But the people that they putting in our idol tree is not even like American. You know what I mean? They're not even American. They got all these false, ideas of America. Like half the people that y'all idolize is not of America. Academics not of America. Platboy Max is not of America. What's his name? I so speak. All these people don't care no flying F about America. They just out here consumer digest America. That's it. They just out here consumer digest America, consumer digest America, just taking everything from us, and we running out of resources. Why? Because we the energy source of all of this. You know what I mean? We the energy source of this. They sucking our energies dry, right? But in this new year, we bringing in knowledge, wisdom, understanding, greater things. You know what I mean? If you embark on this journey with the Atlas Collective, with the Atlas Network, I promise you, you ain't gonna be disappointed because this is for all of us. You know what I mean? We trying to work on actually getting out of the pit. Now, some people want to keep you in it because they benefit from you being in it. And they told if they keep you down, they're gonna reap multiple rewards for keeping you down. But over here at the Atlas Network, we don't believe that. We believe that if you make it, we make it. You know, we believe that if you make it, we make it. So we want you to make it, right? And remember, one's image of oneself should be greater than reality. If you don't believe in yourself, then nobody else is going to believe into you. And remember, you know, if nobody told you that they love you today, let us be the first and last not to tell you. Let us be the first but not the last to tell you that we love you. You know, we're going to go over to TikTok and probably stream the game for a little bit just to wind down. We're going to try to bring you another live later on. But like I said, you know, these lives ain't paying the bills yet. When we start putting out podcasts and stuff like that, I'm trying to put a team together so that way some of the lives can get transferred over to podcasts and so on and so forth. So that way we can try to build, you know, like I said, you know, once we get the beads and stuff in the Atlas store, we'll buy the stuff, we'll buy bracelets and stuff off of ourselves and then sell them. Also, for people that's trying to grow on TikTok, I do have a way of trying to help people grow. If you're trying to grow your platform, if you want to talk about certain topics, we just need to create a time frame that everybody's going live. So that way we know and we're not stepping on each other's feet and we're actually like pushing each other around into other people's pages to help grow their pages. So if somebody's got a live going right after my live, I would say, you know, make sure y'all go join this live, so on and so forth, however you look at it. But we have to grow positivity, knowledge, wisdom, all of that great stuff. But we building over here, you know, we reshaping this, you know, and it's going to be great. It's going to be beautiful. It's going to be something that the world can love. You know, we're gonna be putting more music out there, everything.
You know the soul does its role, the heart's doing what it's told. Sit back and just you listen. When love comes, it's on a mission. With your mind, you get choice. Can't ignore your inner voice. You know that sweet gut feeling, all that it's been revealing. You already know we're good to go. Ain't nobody gonna steal the show. Your heart's led to me, tethered to me, platinum cord right to me. Your heart's led to me. So what they talking about?
It's love. They don't know. It's love. They don't know.
It's love. They don't know. They look at us with their bad mind. It don't matter. We're fine, baby. We're good. We're tight. But they love to start a fight. We don't care what they do. We're good to go. Just us two. Over there, so remiss. Mad cause we got love like this. They already know. We're good to go, so nobody gonna steal the show. Your heart's led to me, your heart's led to me, tethered to me, platinum cord right to me. Your heart's led to me. So what they talking about? They don't know. It's love. They don't Your heart's led to me, dead right to me. You're right to me. Platinum core to me, right to me. Your heart's led to me, baby. So what they talking about? They don't know. Your heart's led to me, tethered to me, platinum cord right to me. Your heart's led to me. What they on about? It's love, love. They don't know, they don't know. It's love, love. They don't know, they don't know. It's love, love. They don't know, they don't know. It's love, love. They don't know. It's love, love. They don't know, they don't know. It's love, love. They don't know, they don't know. It's love, love. They don't know.
Ralphdawise has rescued more women than Jaguar, right? Oh, die. And out of these women, none have appreciated it, and that shit ain't right. They turned their backs and told lies on our collective, saying violence is what we incite. Bitch, please, please. We fight demons, not people, so eliminate your negative assumption, because none of it is right. We're here to protect each other's energy, not to tear anyone down. Just because you see people in our Discord stating they wanna fight, doesn't mean they're part of our collective. Undercover wanna be detectives, spies with lies in which we despise, makes your assumptions very deceptive. From Bonnie, Selma, Lady, Lactatia, Maggie to Golden Queen, we aren't searching for y'all's whereabouts, we ain't the damn beam team. Our focus is on bigger things. Our focus is on bigger things. We have bigger dreams. We have bigger dreams. We fight with facts, not physically, despite what y'all may think.